You're watching the Health Now Nutrition Podcast, advancing our holistic and nutrition industry one story at a time. Presenting your host, Michelle Post.
There we go. Hi, everyone. This is Michelle from Health Now Nutrition, and we are talking with the fabulous contributor to our book, Hasina, Ireland. So I'm just going to tell you a bit about Hasina. Hasina is a member in good standing with the Canadian Association of Holistic Nutrition Professionals and the Canadian Massage Therapists of Ontario. Thank you. Her focus has been on supporting organ health by recognizing sensitivities that would prevent the body from moving towards its natural balanced state. Developing customized plans for her clients by working through realistic goals has been easily achieved with focused guidance. She can attest that overcoming the many trials and obstacles over the years with her own health led her to become extremely passionate about wellness. Devoted to bringing forth valuable information, she is continually motivated to spread the benefits of living a healthier, happier life. If you want to learn more about Hasina, you can email Hasina at Hasina Ireland RMT, that's HASINA @gmail.com to book your consultation. Hi, Hasina, how are you?
Hello, doing well, thank you. How are you, Michelle?
I am absolutely excellent. I'm so excited to see you. I haven't seen you for a while, so I'm so happy.
Yes, it has been a while.
Right? And of course, we really want to get you on social media more, so hopefully that'll be a little push for you. Did I do that? Yes, I did. So. My bad. So I'm so excited to have you here and sharing your unique story, showcasing your tragedy. So just tell me a little bit more about yourself. What is it like for you right now? Actually, this is new. About right now, about working from home or, with your own isolation.
Well, right now, it's for me, I don't mind it too much. I get a little bit more rest, which is good. I do work many hours. So, but for me, it is challenging at times just by being inside all the time. But, just using some of the techniques that I've learned over the years, especially in terms of centering, grounding, and doing certain techniques to help myself be more sound and not too agitated or anxious, which can rise up a lot in this time, especially. So it's helped, and rest, of course, that does wonders. So I've been able to sleep a lot more, cleared my mind a lot more. So that definitely helped. But I do miss my clients.
Oh, yes,
face to face.
Right, absolutely. I love having wonderful clients as well. So I miss seeing people so much.
Yes.
So I just want to share a little bit about your story. Like, you've had a lifetime that you didn't know about. Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me. So it's a lifetime of symptoms before you were ever diagnosed. So do you want to share a little bit what your actual diagnosis was, and then we can talk a bit about what your symptoms started off to be?
Yes, sure. So I'd like to just start off a little bit about describing what sickle cell is. And many people don't know what it is, or have heard about it, but not sure. So basically, it is a genetic condition in which, in my case, both of my parents passed on a sickle cell gene to me, which is how I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia. And that was at 3 months of age.
Did either of them have the sickle cell anemia themselves?
They are carriers. So for them, they didn't know themselves what sickle cell was because they didn't have any symptoms, but they can pass the gene on.
Right.
So they don't have symptoms that I would experience, but they can pass on the gene if they had children, which is what happened. And so for me, growing up, a lot of stories I was told because it was from infancy, and I was diagnosed at 3 months of age.
Oh.
And this all occurred when I was crying, uncontrollable uncontrollably and having swelling in certain areas of my body. And usually that swelling is where I have the pain. So essentially sickle cell, being an inherited condition, it is a lack of oxygen in the red blood cells.
Oh.
And so the lack of oxygen creates a sickled shape in the red blood cell. So for a lot of people, it would be round, perfectly round, exactly as a red blood cell. And most of mine are sickled shapes. So like a half moon or a crescent moon, those are what the shape is for the majority of my cells. And because of that, it's very difficult for them to flow throughout the veins effectively.
Oh.
So instead of, being able to roll through the veins very easily, they get stuck in the joints. They can get stuck because of their shape. And so when they do clog the veins, it causes intense, extreme pain.
Oh my gosh.
And yes, it can range from mild to very, very severe. And so for me, at a young age, many of my episodes were very severe, leading me to go into the hospital. And
yeah,
so,
you've mentioned in your story that a lot of your childhood was in the hospital.
yes. And it was actually my second home. I was in there many times throughout the year, also staying in there at least a week at a time. So all the nurses, the doctors knew me, when I would come in because I was in there so often. But they were wonderful. This was at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto.
Okay.
Beautiful hospital. I love
Yes.
all the nurses and doctors.
I know you wanted
They're
to give
wonderful.
kudos and a big shout out to them. So go ahead and give them a nice shout out.
Yes. Thank you to all the nurses and doctors who have taken care of me, and all those who do have sickle cell. You do have a very passionate group of people. And I know right now I'm just sending all the love and support to all the healthcare workers that are working really, really hard right now in this pandemic.
Absolutely.
So being in and out of the hospital for the majority of my life, especially when I was younger, the only things at that time that they were able to do was provide me with pain medication and IV and oxygen. And then when I was okay and ready to go home, then they would let me go home. But this would occur on and off throughout the years of my life. And when I was younger, it was a lot more. And so being in and out of hospital admissions and being drugged out on the pain medication, it was really hard for me to be able to continue with school. And I've missed a lot of school and different activities when I was younger.
Right.
But this did carry on throughout my life as well.
Right. So I just want to remind our listeners and our watchers out there that we are talking to Hasina Ireland, and we're talking about her life venture with sickle cell anemia. And if you do want to get a hold of her, you can email her at hasinaireland@gmail.com. That's HASINAIRELANDRMT@gmail.com. So keep telling us your story. Oh my gosh.
And so it was around the time when I was in high school. I wanted to see what I can do, if I can do something for myself, because this routine wasn't helping me out at all in terms of my health. I just felt like it was more declining than getting better.
Right.
Even though I would get better from the episodes, but after that was still a recurring thing that I would have to try to help with myself in terms of energy, not feeling groggy, not having my stomach hurt from the medication, things like that. Yes. So it was in 2001, actually in 1999, where I did go to Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. And this was because I knew there was something else that could be done rather than just the medication. I wanted to take some sort of responsibility for myself. And so going there, I've learned a ton about just health, nutrition, lifestyle changes, herbs, and things like that, energy
So
application.
what made you want to start looking at the school to start learning more?
So just, I knew that leaving myself in the hands of the medical profession, it wasn't essentially going to get me to where I wanted to be with my health. So I knew there was something that I could do on my own in terms of natural ways to help my cells get healthier, my mind get healthier, and my gut, my digestion. There was so many things that were just out of whack that I learned when I was in school. And so
Oh,
being able to use these little techniques and protocols for myself, I was experimenting and seeing over time that they did actually work and they did help me. It's not a pill, so it's not like taking, an Advil and your headache's going to go away, but it's over time. It is
right.
genetic, and it's a lifetime of medication. So it takes some time to be able to reverse somewhat.
Right, absolutely, and especially the genetic one is a little bit different than a lot of those of us who suffer from an illness that has come on. Of course, there could be genetic weakening, but you always have to look at and manage what is going on inside of your body right from the get-go.
Exactly, that's right. And so I was amazed at certain things that I thought maybe the doctors would let me know of myself, but you have to seek that for yourself, and that's
What
what I did for myself.
can you tell us one thing that you found that you didn't learn from the doctors that you found on for yourself?
One of the things that stood out for me early on was that when I remember being in high school and I started getting really excruciating pains in my abdomen, but it wasn't a sickle cell pain. I can differentiate the differences with the pain. Um, and so when I did go into the doctor, they did say that I had gallstones.
Oh,
And eventually I had to take them out, or they told me that they needed to be removed. After going to the Canadian School of Holistic Nutrition, I realized also working in a health food store that, it's possible to be able to flush certain stones. This is not for everybody, and
right, yeah.
it's always good to have a doctor talk to you about this as well. But there are different therapies and protocols that can be used for so many different things, and I was aware of that only when I sought it on my own.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't have that. Sorry, I didn't have that decision. It was just made for me.
Right, absolutely. We had a huge issue here. We'll talk about some other time with my dear husband and his gallbladder, so that was out of control. Um,
Oh,
well, and actually, even along those lines, what was your diet like when your gallbladder was removed?
horrible. It was actually horrible. Um, when I was in school, like in the cafeteria, they didn't have as many healthy foods. I would have fries and gravy.
God, love fries
Um,
and gravy back in the day. Hey?
yes. And I had that a lot, almost every day for lunch. There was other foods too that were just salty, greasy, and just pretty much, not the food that you want to be having to be able to get your body back into shape. And so realizing this afterwards, it's like, okay, that's why this happened, or that's why this happened. So it's not always about certain conditions, but what the symptoms you're experiencing that can also lead to certain conditions as well.
Absolutely. And especially if your cells aren't carrying the right nutrients throughout your body properly, those nutrients might not be delivered. So you could have been deficient in many areas. Is that,
Exactly.
yeah?
Yeah. And that's another thing that I had realized is that I was deficient in certain nutrients. And so being able to gather those from foods and herbs Also, deep breathing helped a lot too because of the cells are deficient in oxygen. So being able to know how to incorporate more oxygen
It's
for
funny.
myself,
As soon as
that
you
will
said
help.
that, I took a deep breath, right? Deep breathing.
Ah, good.
As
Yes,
soon as
very
somebody says
important.
that, I feel like
Extremely important. Yes.
super fun. So you
Yes.
started implementing some of these changes, and what was your time frame like? Knowing how long, how long did it take you to start noticing differences?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it was very unpredictable in the beginning because I was using certain things, but I also had to know how those items were affecting me as well. So it did take some time to sort of figure out what would work for me.
Yeah.
But I would say maybe a couple years or so,
Okay. Yeah.
I did notice that my hospital admissions were going down, my episodes were not as close together as they were, so spreading out, some not being as intense. So there was definitely a change that I did notice, and so I kept going.
That's awesome. And
Yes.
I think you said that the last time you had to go into the hospital for an episode was when again?
So the last time I went in, this was in 2018. Um, this and that particular time, I believe a lot was also self-induced
Okay.
because I was working many hours. It was in the winter time, which that can also tense up the muscles and aggravate sickling, which they call it, of the cells, creating pain, also going through weaker immune system, having a cold. So there was a lot of other issues surrounding it, and
Yeah.
that was very intense. So I did have to go in at that time.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But it's fewer and fewer before you ever have to go back in again. So, and what are you doing now, without giving away the farm, that is helping
Mhm.
prevent you from having to go in?
So right now, what I'm doing is using some protocols that I've realized for myself that has worked. So certain types of juicing, certain types of smoothies, foods in general that are more helpful for the red blood cells, the immune system, digestive system, things like that. Keeping my colon clear, because
Oh,
that can also bring up a lot of congestion in the body,
right.
releasing mucus out of the body as well. So it's not necessarily one thing that I'm doing, but a few things altogether. And also, I do like to incorporate exercise, especially yoga, because that also uses a lot of your breath work. So
Absolutely.
all of these, they do make a tremendous difference.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you're doing all that stuff. Like, amazing. And so now when you work with clients, what is your favorite client to work with?
My favorite client to work with is someone who it's not easy for them to give up. They're very determined in making a difference because holistic nutrition is more of a lifestyle change. It's
Yes.
very important to know that and to understand that. It's not going to take a day or a week or even a month, but it takes patience and determination to kind of get to where you know where to make the difference. And it is a lifestyle journey. There
Uh,
was one quote
yeah.
that I like to mention. This is from Dr. Sabi, and he had helped many people with many different diseases and conditions, some here as well as sickle cell. He did say that growth is painful, change is painful,
Yes.
but nothing is as painful as staying the same. So if
Abs-
you're staying the same, then obviously nothing is going to change. And it does take, it can be very challenging to change your normal routine, but it is well worth it.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you said that, to really showcase, because one of the issues that we have with our modern society is people are still looking for the quick fix. And there's always those
Yeah.
quick fixes always come with consequences. So
Yes.
again, it's our lifestyles and the whole body mind connection that has actually created this lifestyle that is of ill health. Right now, even in our weird world that we have, the majority of people who are being attacked or targeted are the people that have poor lifestyles. I'm sorry to say, it's the lifestyle of the rich. So with the excess inflammation inside the body, and I don't want to shame anyone or, point fingers. The holistic realm, so far, I haven't heard one person it's attached itself to. So that'll be interesting. So I love that
Yes.
you
Yes.
share that it's a lifestyle, because really we have been habitualized to the lifestyle of, the standard, we call it the standard American diet, people. It's the sad diet. So just to let you know, we're in Canada
Very
and
sad.
we're very, very similar. So it's just the way it is. And
Yes.
so it's super, super important to understand that we already have a dietary lifestyle, and that's what nutrition is to change that up. I love that you said that.
Yes. I think that's very important.
Right. Now, there was one interesting comment that we had together before we started the podcast here about sickle cell anemia not just being targeted to Black people. And I went, oh, because I didn't know
Yes.
that. So can you please share with me a little bit more about that information?
Yes. And so it's been well known as an African disease. I like to say disease, but actually a lot of people from South and Central America, India, the Mediterranean countries, um, and some places in Asia as well, they do experience people that do have sickle cell. Also Caribbean islands, which is very high as well. So it is a misconception, and I would encourage people to also look up sickle cell, even say Sickle Cell Association of Ontario, Sickle Cell Awareness Group of Ontario. There are videos that you can see, people sharing their stories not from African descent, and that can be very eye-opening,
Yeah.
because many people do not know that, and it's still associated with African culture, although that is far from the truth.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, because, yeah, that was very new to me today, too. So I really,
And I thank you so much for um, being able to contribute, because just the awareness, I feel, is so important.
oh, yeah.
Um, and I think if there's more awareness, there could be more done for things like sickle cell anemia. So I do very much appreciate you reaching out and for me to contribute
Yeah,
to Safe by
absolutely.
Nutrition.
Well, it's such an important, it happens to people, and I feel that people need to know that they can manage their
Yes.
ailments. They can manage things, and nutrition is really a big forefront. So I'm so glad that you're sharing it. And are you still continuing to share your story and your words with other factions, other groups?
Yes, I am. And this is one of the avenues. I am also working on a book that I'm writing as well. So hopefully that will be coming out soon. And I just want to also give another shout out to all of the sickle cell warriors out there. That's what we call ourselves, sickle cell
Nice.
warriors.
That's actually
Yes. So
cool, hey?
yes. So I want you all to just stay strong and continue, your great work as well.
Just awesome. So one last bit of information. How would you like to what would you like to share with people now, to help them with their health? Any tidbit of information or insight you'd love to share?
So what I would like to share is that, don't feel that you're alone. Don't feel that, you're going through something by yourself, no matter what it is, because there's always someone that can help you or guide you along your journey. And I always want you to also know that there's always something out there for you. You just have to go out and seek it and see what that might be, because there's so many options out there, and there are many people out there too that truly do care and that want you to get healthy as well as you want to get healthy.
Amazing. And you're absolutely right. Your journey doesn't have to be alone. Absolutely. So super awesome. Well, again, we were speaking with the amazing, and as you now know how amazing, Hasina Ireland. So if you want to learn more about Hasina, please send her an email. You can visit her at Pain Free RMT. Yeah?
Pain Free RMT.
My bad. For some strange reason, I saw paint. I saw a painting in there. So painfreermt.ca, or you can email her at hasinairelandrmt@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your amazing story. I can't wait to share this with everyone.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Health Now Nutrition Podcast with Michelle Post. For more information on how you can be part of the holistic and nutrition movement, visit www.healthnow.today to book your meeting.